Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel, welcome back to Comic-Booksters. As always, I am Nerdcore, and I am joined by my co-host, Obi the Boy.
Welcome back to Comic-Booksters.
And today we are talking about the recently released Iron Fist on Netflix. Me and Obi have watched the first few episodes. Well, I've actually finished it. Obi, you're at episode 10, correct?
Right, I'm at episode 10.
And so we're going to go over a little bit of first impressions. Extensive first impressions. We're not going to go too far in depth. We'll talk about what we like, what we don't like, and we hope to hear from you the same thing. So, Obi, given what you've seen with Iron Fist, it's come out the gate and it's had some pretty terrible reviews. What do you think of it?
I still don't get all those negative reviews. I mean, I'm at 10 now, and it's kind of getting a little wonky, but I thought the first 6 episodes were pretty decent. Episode 2 was the only episode I could complain about from the first 6, for sure. And that was just character backstory. So, I mean, it did set up a story for later on. It felt longer than in 2 minutes or whatever.
Yeah, I don't know. I was really enjoying it, not really understanding all the hate going in, but then again, I'm not like huge onto the background of Asian culture or anything. I know that it's gotten some heat for apparently misrepresenting a lot of that. But my thing is, it's supposed to be like Luke Cage kind of had those elements of blaxploitation. This is supposed to be like your 70s kung fu movie Netflix show. So, I can give and take there, but then again, that might be white privilege talking. It started to fall apart for me as well around episode 10. There's a twist. We should throw up our spoiler alert here, but I'm not really going to go into what that twist was. That just kind of came out of, it wasn't surprising, but at the same time, maybe it was well written because I felt upset about it. But
it wasn't surprising. I will agree with that. I feel like that was set up around episode 4.
Yeah, but it just did not seem to me like, I didn't feel like it was a necessary turn in the story. Overall, I mean, where it really starts falling apart for me is like at the end, it starts feeling very rushed and ham-fistedly put together, if you understand what I mean there.
Oh yeah, I can agree with that statement. It feels like, especially in episode 10, like the amount of stuff they put in episode 10 in earlier episodes would have been 2 episodes.
Yeah.
So I don't understand what they did. Like, they didn't space this out well. They do have, from what I was looking at, it seems like a different writer on every episode.
Yeah, they do.
Which is insane. Like, you do need to have at least someone putting this all together.
Well, you have your showrunner, your executive producers who normally do that through line, and I'm sure all the writers had like a show Bible that they were following. Like, even if you look at like Daredevil, a lot of those are written by different people. Luke Cage, Jessica Jones, any TV show really. They have their writing team, but I think there wasn't, if there was any at all, there wasn't very repeat writers on episodes with Iron Fist.
Yeah, but like, I feel if you want to go just into the other 3 Netflix shows, there seems to be more consistency with the different writers than this show. This show's like, there's some really good episodes, and then there's some really poor episodes. Not overall, I'm just saying in writing. From a writing standpoint, they're poor.
Yeah, no, I think that's actually the biggest struggle that this show has is the writing. I think the cast is pretty capable. What is it? Is it Christine or Christina Henwick that they got for Colleen Wing? She does a phenomenal job with what she's given. She may actually be the best character on this show. And I don't really get all the hate on Finn Jones as Danny Rand. I actually really liked his performance because, people go, well, he's inconsistent. He's erratic. Given where the character's been and where he's going and what happens to him in this show, I feel like erratic is really where you need to be with it because he's gone through a ton of changes. It's being reintroduced into a culture shock. 15 years has gone by and nothing's the way he remembers it. Or, superficially it may be the way he remembers it, but, everything has changed, so to speak.
Even if you go back to the Ultimate Spider-Man TV show, which I know not a lot of people are big fans of, but
But it's like your favorite source to quote.
I don't know if it's my favorite source to quote. Iron Fist shows up in that, and even in that, he goes through weird phases in that, and then with like the changes things. If you want to see like how bad he is at conforming, go read the first 4 issues of the new Power Man and Iron Fist ongoing that's going on. He still thinks that they're like the best friends in the world. Luke Cage, not so much. Like, he just doesn't change. That's kind of a character trait for him.
Yeah, but yeah, I really didn't feel the hate on his performance. I thought that he did a well enough job. I guess that might be it where another thing is happening where people are really struggling with the show is the fact that it's passable, but I mean, people should be used to that with the MCU because at this point they've started remaking kind of the same movies with their origin stories. Like Doctor Strange was Magic Iron Man, Ant-Man was Heist Iron Man. This is
It's a true story. I was talking about this earlier with the other half because she was talking about how she, even watching the extended edition, she still didn't like BVS, and I was like, it's not a bad movie, and at least it's something different because if you really want to watch Doctor Strange, I can show you that movie almost 10 years ago now in Iron Man. It's basically the same movie.
It is. But, I mean, and now they're hitting that point with the Netflix TV shows. They got their kind of origin season down, so to speak. And I don't really think it's a great formula because, to be quite honest, I love Daredevil Season 1. I really like Jessica Jones. I liked Luke Cage. This show is passable, but all of these shows in their first season, they're all 13 episodes, and I find that they start strong, they have a waning point in the middle, and then they end strong. Now, me having watched the entire thing, I feel like Iron Fist starts all right, gets a little bit more all right, and then it starts getting really jumbled, and I think this may actually have one of the weaker endings to anything that I've seen come out of the MCU, which makes me sad, because overall I think this cast really could have pulled it together. I just think that, the writers didn't really have a great grasp on the kind of story they wanted to tell.
That was my issue also. But I don't know if that's also the writers, because like I did state when we were talking about this a little bit earlier, my favorite episode was the episode that was directed by the RZA. And that's a dude that literally loves kung fu movies. I don't know if all these directors know what they're supposed to be, the angle they're supposed to be going for with this story.
One other thing that bothers me about the writing is that going back to other Marvel Netflix shows, with Daredevil Season 2, I thought that did an extremely well job with its 13 episode run of, having separate storylines to kind of break it up, and then it was all tied together at the end. I feel like they try to do that here with Iron Fist, but it just, that they kind of fumble the ball here. It just, for whatever reason, it doesn't come together as cleanly as what they did with Daredevil Season 2. It's like they started off with good intentions here, but they just couldn't, I ever used a sports metaphor, but they just couldn't complete the pass.
Yeah, they definitely, you're leading into the fourth quarter and then you're up 2 touchdowns and you blow a 2 touchdown lead in the fourth quarter, because that's kind of what it feels like.
Yeah, basically, yeah. Daredevil Season 2 sports better than Iron Fist Season 1. Anything else that has really stood out to you so far regarding Iron Fist?
I do like the fight choreography. I read a couple people earlier complaining about it, but I really like the fight choreography in this show. It's it seems closer to what I've known. A few people who've studied like kung fu and stuff in the past. A couple guys that actually went to China to study like crane style and stuff. So like it seems closer to actual like that kind of style of fighting than the other stuff that they try to pass off as kung fu in, say, Daredevil or something like that.
I don't know. I feel like Daredevil had better fight scenes. Like, with Iron Fist, I feel like there was a mix of good fight scenes and bad fight scenes. Like, at times, I really noticed that it was just really slowed down, and I felt like maybe they could have, in editing, sped it up a little bit more to make it seem a little bit fiercer. because it would have felt the tone of what they were going for. But there were times where it was a discernibly slower fight scene, and it didn't really make much sense. It seemed more like dance than it did combat.
You have to like I said, I've known a few people that have gone to China to actually study like kung fu, and if that's what they're like, a few of those people were fighting that way, and that's what it is. It is like a dance while fighting. It is a slow burn. It is,
but it lacks impact.
Yeah, well, that unfortunately that's kind of what it does. That's why, like, if you want to go to back to sports or whatever, that's why the people that do like cage fighting or whatever, they all go to jiu-jitsu or Kamagra. They do stuff that is more impactful. Kung Fu isn't impactful. It's more of the art of getting to the point.
Fair enough. The other major complaining point I have, and don't get me wrong, I love Rosario Dawson as an actress. I think she's phenomenal. I'm getting tired of Claire Temple, and she feels like she's just kind of shoved in here for the sake of being shoved in here in this series.
She's the Robert Downey Jr. of the Netflix series.
And that's great and all, but at least when Robert Downey Jr. shows up, he more or less has a purpose. Now, whether that's going to maintain being true with Spider-Man Homecoming, I have my doubts. But, I just... You saw at the end of Luke Cage, she picks up a flyer for Colleen Wing's dojo, so she's going to be there. But her purpose in the story, it's very much like it was in Daredevil and Jessica Jones and Luke Cage. She's there to patch people up, but I at this point it just feels so forced. I'm over it. I'm sure I'll love her in the Defenders. She'll serve the same purpose there. There's not going to be anything fresh or new with it. She'll be actually there may be something fresh and new with it because she could be competing with Jessica Jones for Luke Cage's affections. Personally, I can't wait to see what happens when Iron Fist meets Misty Knight, because they're a thing in the comics, or at least they were. And when he's with Colleen Wing, who's supposed to become Misty Knight's partner in crime, I'm sure sparks will fly. But I mean, this, like I said, it's a passable show. It just feels like it's more or less one roadblock to get to the Defenders, just one more rung on the ladder, and it passable, but not phenomenal.
Yeah, I mean, they did finish filming the Defenders today. They should have probably just did that first, and then if they really felt like they needed to put out an Iron Fist series, they could have put out an Iron Fist series. And that's kind of sad to me, because I truly do like Iron Fist as a character.
Me too. I almost feel like it would have been better served for both Iron Fist and Luke Cage if, instead of doing season 1 of Luke Cage and doing season 1 of Iron Fist, they would have done a 13-episode Heroes for Hire show, and they could have covered a lot of the same ground that they're doing in Iron Fist Season 1 and, Luke Cage 1 through 6, and had it all combined and then wrapped up the last 7 episodes with them teaming up. I think that would have been really cool, because then you would have, had 7 episodes to have them bond as a team and then, open a business or lay the groundwork for the Defenders. But, Luke Cage had a stronger show. I just think that it would have probably better served both of them and could have been a phenomenal show if it was straight up a Power Man Iron Fist Heroes for Hire show.
I do agree Heroes for Hire would have been a better show. I think what would have really done these shows well is if they made them 6 episodes instead of trying to do the 16 like they did with Daredevil. If they would have done 6
Well, they did 13 with Daredevil.
Yeah, I meant 13 with Daredevil. If they would have done these in 6 episodes, I think they could have told a more concise story than and then trying to drag out the story over 13 episodes, and it kind of, like I said, bogs down in certain episodes.
But at the same time, Daredevil Season 2 proved that the 13 episodes can be done. So there is a formula that works. You just got to have people who... I would think, maybe not even 6. Even if they would have just went 10, I feel like there's just 3 episodes worth of filler in there. So, if you can't make 13, maybe reduce the order by, 3 or 4 or even 5. You know, that's passable. It's absolutely fine. It's not like things have consistent episode numbers at this point. Like, look at Game of Thrones. The last season's going to be like 6 episodes. So it's real interesting. But guys, let us know what you think of Iron Fist Season 1 in the comments section below. If you like this video, give us a thumbs up, share it with your friends, and subscribe to the Comic-Booksters here on YouTube. For Obi the Boy, I'm Nerdcore, and we'll see you next time.
Keep watching.